So hey guys, welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. Welcome back to the kitchen. Today we are going to be canning green tomatoes. That's right, we're at the very end of the season. It's going to take forever for some of these to turn, so we're going to make them last for a long time. These are awesome to make, awesome to can in your water bath, especially if you like fried green tomatoes. Okay. So first things first, welcome back to the channel, welcome back into the kitchen. Guys, I gotta tell you, if you are learning to can right now, if you've planted a little garden, or if you have access to some green tomatoes and you're trying to learn to can, this is probably going to be the easiest thing you've ever canned. Seriously, it's easier than apple butter and strawberry jam. It's so simple, stupid. And we like that, right? We also like to know that we can grab these off of the shelf come, say, January, February, March, and we can fry up some fresh fried green tomatoes. You like fried green tomatoes, right? I have an entire video. In fact, I have two entire videos on how to make my fried green tomatoes. Very simple and delicious. It's a Southern delight. So here's the deal. We're going to be water bathing today. So you don't have to get the pressure canner out. No stress. Very simple ingredients. Are you ready to get rocking and rolling? Hey. Okay, so let's go over the very basics of what you're going to need here. This is crazy, simple, stupid. Some of this is not going to be exact science in terms of how many tomatoes do you need, because look here, I've got this little baby, and then when we come back in, we get a little bit bigger. So it just depends. So I'm going to say anywhere from maybe 5 to 8 pounds or so plus of your green tomatoes. These are the ones obviously that haven't ripened yet. You're going to kind of play this by ear. I'm going to try to go for 6 or 7 pints. I'll show you that in just a second. I would highly recommend that you use the wide mouth. That makes a whole lot of sense because you're going to be slicing your tomatoes, okay? And you're going to want to layer, it's going to look like a little layered pancake, right? Just layers and layers and layers of your green tomatoes are going to be in each of your jars. So just have you a good little mess, as we call it, and play it by ear, okay? What you have left over, you can process again on another batch, or you can put them in some brown baggies, like some lunch bags or whatever. Put them in your pantry, and you'll have them turning inside of your pantry in several weeks. My Nana always loves talking about how they would pick the end of season green tomatoes, and then they would put them in brown paper bags, put them back in the, down in the root cellar. Granny would put them away, and then they would always have fresh, ripened tomatoes, sliced up, beautiful for Thanksgiving. But we're just going to start with what we have, and then we're going to go over the rest of the items that you need. Okay, next thing you need to know is you need to have a water bath. This is a simple water bath process. This is not anything with pressure or crazy town, okay? Water bath only. The next thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be filling up 5 or 6, probably 5 or 6 quarts of water into another jar, because this is going to be what you put over the tomatoes before you process them in the jars. So you're going to have boiling water. I haven't done that yet, but I just want to show you. I've got my quart out. I'm going to do like 5 of those, something like that, and get some really hot water going. Come on down here. Come on down here. Now, you're going to want your basic canning items. Most of you out there may have this. If you don't, you're going to be adding them. You need your little jar grabber. You don't want to burn yourself. This is what allows you to place them into the hot water, take them out of the hot water. You can get these kits on Amazon or a lot of your local farm supply stores, Ace Hardware. You can get a whole little kit with all of these tools in them. Some of y'all were asking me about that. Very easy, simple. I'll put a link down below. I've got a couple of them in boxes, and when they come in the box, you get that. You're also going to get a funnel. Okay, so after you put the tomatoes down in the jar, you'll see I'm going to pour the water or brine, depending on whatever you're canning. This is pretty important. I even use these for seed saving, okay? That's like your little funnel. Okay, you hear that lawnmower going around, honey? He's out there like Mario Andretti. Okay. Now, this is going to help you measure your headspace. It's your headspace doohickey on one end, and then the other end, you put it down, and it helps you to push out all the air bubbles, okay? You'll see that, very simple. And somebody specifically was asking me about one of these. This is your magnet for your lids. When you want to get your lids right there, not your rings, your lids. When you want to put them onto, well, I dropped one. When you want to put them onto the jar, especially if you're pulling up out of really hot water. That's what that's for. So I just want to put that in there because some of y'all were asking me about that. So I will try to find you a kit. They're usually around 14, 15 bucks, and you get all of these little tools, and you will use them over and over and over. So you have your jar grabber, your funnel. These are the actual, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. There's your rings. You will need those to go over your lids. You know that possibly. I hope you do. There's that doohickey, this doohickey. You're going to need a tablespoon because guess what? These are the three main items that you're going to need beyond water, boiling water, okay? I'm going to put a little bit of salt. You can use pickling salt if you want. I'm just going to put a dash of the Himalayan in there, maybe a teaspoon of each, just to know that I did. That's probably optional for you. Some people do it, some people don't. So that's up to you. You will need white vinegar. You're going to need white vinegar regardless of what you choose to can, because at a minimum, you're probably going to add some to your water. So it keeps the water from getting kind of dingy onto your cans. And then plus, this is what's going to clean the rims of your jars before you process. You'll see that, okay? Very, very important. And it is 5% or more. And then you're going to need lemon juice, okay? I like to put some lemon juice in with anything tomato, a tablespoon per pint. Is what I'm going to be recommending for you. A lot of people do that. But this is very basic items. You probably already have this in your pantry. Of course, I've got some hot water here. I'm going to put my wide mouth lids into the water. Some people still do that. Some people don't. I'm old school. It may not necessarily be boiling, but it's really hot. I like to do that. Plus it gets off any hair or funky cold Medina off of the actual lids. So this is the main deal of what you're going to need here. Okay. My jars are actually inside the dishwasher right now. My wide mouth pints, you'll see them in a second. They just got done washing. They are hot as blazes, so we'll get those out. You want them really, really hot. So what we're going to do now is have this all set up. We're going to start boiling the water, and you know what? We're going to slice our maters. So before I start slicing the green tomatoes, we're going to be slicing them as best we can to around 1/4 inch thick, give or take. You know, don't sweat the small stuff. Let me show this to you real quick. Now, my wide mouth pints are still in the dishwasher. I don't want to take them out. They're hot. That's what we want. We want them fresh, clean, sterilized, and hot, okay? But this is a quart, but here is what it looks like. That's a wide mouth, okay? So you have regular mouth and wide mouth jars when you're canning. This is what the wide mouth looks like. Even on the pint, it is the actual same size, okay? As opposed to your regular mouth, I've got this little doohickey right here. See how much smaller that is? That's your regular. So when you're canning, and you're gonna get used to knowing what you like. Like I'm gonna be doing salsa next, and they're in here too. And I'm gonna be using pints. It's gonna be the same amount of space in the actual jar, but I'm going to be using regular mouth this time. So I'm using the best of both worlds. It makes the most sense that if you're using items that are larger, flat, or maybe you're pickling items and you want to be able to get them out of that jar, wide mouth is better, okay? So that's why I'm using wide mouth. So hopefully we'll be able to slice these pretty good and just let them layer up inside the jar. We're gonna play that by ear. No two tomatoes are the same. So we're just gonna do the best that we can with what we've got because, well, that's what Granny did. So these are nice and washed. Showed you that right there. So I have gone over, took the actual stemming off, washed them with really warm water, looked over them, scrubbed them a little bit, just to make sure they're nice and fresh and clean. No big deal. There's no varmint from the garden gonna be in your canning jar. So this is what we've got so far. We're gonna work with it. We have a couple more that we could use, but let's see how and where we land, and we will go from there. They're not gonna be picture perfect, okay? all homegrown, real deal. So you know that when you see pictures on Instagram or Pinterest or wherever you look, and they look like perfect little pancakes sitting there, guys, that's not the real world. We've got real deal here. And so don't put that pressure on yourself. Just get them in the jars, honey. Okay, so we're just going to play this by ear. So I'm going to try to sort of put them in there by size. I've already put in just a quick little teaspoon of salt, optional. And then I did about a tablespoon of your lemon juice. That's in there. So now we're going to squeeze these in, and then we will cover them with the hot boiling water. Then we will clean the rims with the white vinegar. Then we will place the lid and the rings, and voila. Oh, no. Back it on up, sister. Back it on up. Woo. Don't forget, you'll see me coming in here and kind of pushing around on them to lift the air bubbles, okay? Then we'll clean, then we'll do the lids, then we'll do the rings, okay? I had to just correct myself. All right, easy peasy lemon squeezy. So we tried our best to get each slice at about 1/4 of an inch. And then we are trying to get our headspace as close to 1/2 inch as possible. Make sure you're washing your hands in between. I know you're doing that. Now we're gonna place it into the hot water bath. I'm gonna raise the rack up and set them on top of the rack. Let them sit there for a minute before I put them down into the water. You don't wanna shock anything in terms of temperature. Now this is really warm, but that's really hot. So we wanna adjust it slowly. We may have to add some more water to the canner. If you're water bathing, you want there to be about 1 inch or so of water above the lids, okay, on the jars. And then we're gonna process these once they get rocking and rolling for about 40 minutes. Some people do 35 minutes, some people do 40. So when in doubt, go the extra 5 minutes, okay? No stress. Very easy. And then once that's done, once you're completed with that, you're just gonna raise the rack up back on top. You'll see right here, and just let them sit for a little bit. Don't just yank them out of the canner. You don't want to shock anything in terms of temperature because you'll break your jars. Okay, these turned out really good. A couple of them I had to cut in half because they were too big. This is what I'm saying. You got to work with the different sizes, but they turned out beautiful. I'm excited. These are going to be good come January. All right, let's get them going. Okay, see what I'm saying here? I had all this water in there and I had it all boiling, but I don't have enough water to cover the lids, as you can see right here. So I'm gonna have to add water into the canner, okay? So add just really warm water and just make sure you get it about 1 inch or so above the actual jar lids, okay? So just eyeball that, make sure you have that going. And then once that temperature gets going and it starts a really good boil for you, then you can start your timer, okay? So I just wanna let you know that this happens and you just have to adjust as you go. This is every single time you can. It's never the exact same, okay? So just know that what your process is and then just work with it. All right, guys, I'm going to conclude the video. These are about to process, like I said, for 40 minutes. Once I'm done with that, I will just simply turn off the stovetop. I will lift the rack up and I will let my jars sit. Sometimes I let them sit for a couple of hours, okay? And then once they've cooled down, everything looks good. You might hear some popping because they're sealing. I will just set them over on a little towel over here and just let them rest. They're resting, darling. So let them rest for at least 12 to 24 hours before you do anything to them. And then you want to check your lids to make sure that they sealed. If you're confident that they sealed, then you can mark what they are and the date and then take the rings off. Then you can store them. I removed the rings. I have videos on that from the past, all kinds of videos on that, because I don't want a false seal. If you happen to get one that did not seal, you can possibly, well, I would eat it tomorrow for supper. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna reprocess it or do anything like that. I'm gonna eat it because I love fried green tomatoes. So we appreciate you watching. I hope this helped you out. This is how simple it really, really is, okay? So let me know what you think. Do you love fried green tomatoes? I'll put down either in the description or in the pinned top comment, I'll put my favorite video on fried green tomatoes so you can make your own. So that is the conclusion. The chickens are gonna get a feast here. We appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, and share. Y'all take care out there. Let me know what you think. Keep canning, keep preparing, keep praying. Like, subscribe, and share. Godspeed, and we'll see you in the next video.